so far of Lower Decks, and I'd say they put everything on a pretty good thing there. And I'm not going to spoil anything. It's just just dropped today. So let's just say Sean at Trek Culture is going to be going nuts in cetacean observations. They went for broke on the references here and there, and there are lots of Easter eggs all over the place. But it's a good one, and it's. And sorry, Rob, but this is good Star Trek. You need to lighten up a bit. I think Mariner's speech at the end, I think, sums it up real good. No, we're not perfect. We're not the but hey, she handpicked this crew. This is a good. We know what we're doing. We're good. So, but I need to. One, I need to double my efforts trying to find a decent editing thing because I'm not sure what happened with a copy of Premiere, but it just went weird and I haven't been able to get. Thought I got a new one, but the code they sent, it was a download thing. They sent the wrong code or sent a different. They neither code works, so I know there's a knuckle under and actually pay Adobe for for a decent key code and do that. But then we'll be back in business. So we got a couple of things I wanted to go on about here. Something that I think was probably a tactical error on the part of come on. Online still having a little bit issues here. The comics put their canon nature in jeopardy with one decision. Yeah, one, I think it was stupid to start considering the comics canon in the first place. Because no, one the comic. Let me tell you, back in the day, Roddenberry hated the books. He really hated the comic books. Of course, back then it was Gold Key, and there was most of that, and that point was handed up to some artist in Italy. The show was not running in Italy in the time. The most they got was a few publicity shots, some notes. The ship was never right. Spock, the ears were looked like hobgoblin stuff. He was laughing in a few spots. It's huh? Yeah. Of course, when Peter David, no, not Peter David, Richard Arnold, one of those double first name things. When Richard Arnold was, supposedly running herd on the continuity stuff, and he actually I think it was told to Peter David that the comics wanted to do more like the old Gold Key stuff, and just if he'd said that to me, I'd have laughed in his face, and I'm sure Peter David probably did the exact same thing. You're high. Those were the worst. This is when DC was doing it. And actually, DC was doing a pretty decent job then. But that was the first time we saw a Klingon in a Federation ship. But, okay, several years ago, Star Trek and IDW confirmed that their comics would start to be considered canon going forward. Mistake. As good as some of them were. I think John Byrne had some of the best stuff out there, and he really dug deep. He actually gave a decent explanation for why the Enterprise seemed to disappear in Tomorrow's Yesterday, because, well, wait a minute. Assignment Earth takes place about a year before, so Gary Seven had a hand in that. So, and also deep dive into the Romulan stuff and the early date. In fact, I was surprised. His ideas for the layout of the Enterprise mirrored mine, and while yes, we have chatted a time too back in AOL, we did not compare notes on the Enterprise. Okay, so I had some great ideas there. It's that's how you get the nacelles, up the struts. So it's more of great minds thinking alike. And I have my stuff's been compared to Byrne, so I think we get similar wavelengths here. But it's at times the franchise pulled elements from non-television series, words like Spock's full name, and never really recognized anything that wasn't a film or movie. Okay. Where the only time I've seen Spock's full, I think actually. The only time I've seen Spock's full name really from any kind of what I would consider an authoritative source is Dorothy Fontana's novel, Wilkins Glory. Anything beyond that, it's no, I defer to Dorothy on that one. Okay. And I think why you couldn't pronounce it, because in Vulcan it's a mile long. and you're laying out, it lays out the entire family tree almost. Because in English, Spock's full name, Spock, son of Serac, son of Sarek, of the House of Serac, and the noble clan Telek Sendin. Okay, something thereabouts. I think that's it. Now imagine it in Vulcan. Okay, and not Mrs. Sarek didn't cover it. It'd be like Amanda, wife, wife of Sarek of the House of Serac and the noble clan Telek. Yeah, that's why it's just Amanda. Fine, That's been changing thanks to the series currently going on with IDW. Those comics are now considered canon. Started with 22 Years Day of Blood miniseries. It's brought back Benjamin Sisko from the wormhole. What I've seen of the blurbs, I have no interest in reading those comics. And considering when on the documentary, what we leave behind, and they do a little rough breakdown. Oh, if they're starting an 8th season, they were paying no attention to the comics either, because they had Sisko come back at the end there, and so I'm guaranteed it wasn't anything like they had here. But there's that less, and then of course also the change in the why screw the? It's supposed to be a uniform. Hey, Iron. Uniform means the same. Uniform consistently. They're pushing it when everyone has got a new uniform. Then it's not really a uniform, is it? Yeah. If you're changing uniform, if everyone's got a different uniform, they're not uniform. So you got to have some consistency. And yes, I say that as singing the praises of Lower Decks. Well, that's a different division of Starfleet, and they all got the galley class all have those uniforms. While as the frontline ships, they still see the gray shoulder, and the colored undershirt. But it's like now with Star Trek issue 26, the team behind the current book opted to erase the Kelvin timeline from history. It's all about Star Trek doing their own 0-hour event, where I think more like Crisis on Infinite Earths, frankly. Well, it sounds like where Lore, Data's android twin, tries to rewrite history across the multiverse, so it's not going to be permanent, but it's a decision that may affect the canon of the comics. I think they already just by having Lore in there. Because Lore was disassembled and his parts are all over at the Daystrom Institute. So they've already blown it just by having Lore there. What the hell? Yeah, after all, what happens with the 4th film in the Kelvin timeline? If it happens, it ain't going to happen, not at this rate. How will the movie adapt to the changes in lore that the comic has presented? They don't pay attention to the comics, even though they can't. It'd be like kind of like way I used to refer to like the EU and Star Wars. It's canon until it isn't. The films and the movie in the films and the TV shows take precedence over anything written or printed, and drawn. So, yes, I'm ignoring the phone. Okay, because nobody calls that line with anything special. It's usually either a bill collector or something dealing with Steph's medical stuff. But and the thing is with comics, there's trying to maintain consistency, especially with these idiots who can't even see consistent with their own series. Trying to maintain it with a comic book series? No, it's a mistake to even And that's just something that they apparently they thought they were when JJ was coming in and doing this stuff. He thought the books were canon. Well, how do you keep track of all this stuff? And everything? JJ, those don't count. Don't count the damn books. What about this part? No, that was never part of it. Roddenberry hated the books. He didn't even consider his own novelization of the motion picture canon. Okay, that was him musing on what would have been that. But even that, no, even his novelization wasn't canon. Okay. But apparently it's okay because they're talking. Well, you got to keep track of what's in the books. No, you don't. Fuck the books. Okay. As well written or they may be. despite being on friendly terms with some authors. No, as far as continuity goes, fuck the books. Okay, they don't count. They never have. Yeah. I mean, starting off with the James Blish adaptations, they were usually adaptations of early draft scripts that did not make final. There were characters in there that weren't there. When it did his adaptation of Trouble with Tribbles, it still had Sulu. George Takei was still filming the Green Berets at the time, and so they gave all those lines to Chekhov. And the little no, that lost in the invention. Let's say, plus, if Star Trek 4 is announced before the Kelvin timeline's reestablished, that pretty much nerfs the entire storyline. Yeah, no shit. You think JJ, if he actually gets the keys to do one more film, is going to give a taker's damn about the comics? Yeah, he doesn't even care about his own time. He said when Quentin Tarantino was done that he can't even keep track of it. Do what you want. You want to wipe it all out? Fine, go for it. He didn't give a shit about his own stuff. Let's say the next major update in the story due March of 2025. And doesn't that pretty much telegraph the ending of the story? That'll hurt says the. I understand that comics are having troubles as it is. Yeah, why keep reading? We know how it ends. That's what's hurting House of the Dragon, because we're going to see how the story ends in the end of Game of Thrones. That's why I'm checked out. I have not watched anything of that show. I've caught maybe a clip or two here and there, if that. This event may not directly cause the end of the comics being canon, as it's unlikely the studio heads of Paramount are flipping their tables over because the comics ruined the film franchise. Far more likely, however, the comic side of things will realize they don't have the freedom to craft the narratives they want and may seek to end their canonicity to have more narrative freedoms. Still, however this shakes out, an interesting storyline that we recommend you check out. Well, I'll pass. Okay. There is only a handful of... Hey, Daniel. There is only really... One, I haven't been in a comic shop in a while, browsing the stacks. Look at this. Do I have room for more comics? I got to get rid of this. I'm tempted to just... I'll go through the long boxes I have, see what one I really want to keep, and then it's like, here, take them. And I will accept store credit. I'll just get rid of them. I'll probably keep the Howard the Duck, and that's about it, yeah. And some of the She-Hulks. Beyond that, so no. What else we got here? Yeah, I've been having fun with Grok today. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, okay. Anthony Montgomery had an interesting take on something here. About how the original, Enterprise was really becoming like the original series, and that it was really starting to coalesce around Archer, T'Pol, and Tucker and Trip. You get that triumvirate there. I think it just kind of thinks that, all the talk about how, the original, it was an ensemble cast. No, it wasn't an ensemble cast back in the original show. You had Bill Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and then DeForest Kelley, and even Dee wasn't in there in every episode in the first season. He missed one or two episodes. He was in most of them in the first season, but the two guys there all the time was Shatner and Nimoy. They were the two leads. And then second season on, Dee got signed on as a regular, so it means every episode. The rest of them were all bit players. By their own admission at the time, Walter Kennedy's been the most honest about it. Said no, he didn't even have a contract. He was, if they had, he was on their list, and when they someone to write the episode of Chekhov, they get a call. Hey, we got a Chekhov episode coming up. Are you available? But it's like they weren't. Eddie Paskey was in more episodes than George Takei. Okay. Granted, he wasn't always playing Leslie. He was playing. There's some background extras on some planet native. What he was, some guy in Organia or a Klingon. But they all got other work. In fact, there's one point I should check down the thing. But Nichelle Nichols did I think it was a two-parter on Tarzan. And if this is the same time that Tarzan was a lead-in for Star Trek. You could have had 2 hours of Nichelle Nichols there, depending if it was an episode she was in. That's actually one little quibble with Star Trek Continues. When they're doing their vignette, the added extended ending for Turnabout Intruder. And Kirk, now recovering his senses, is on the bridge. There's Uhura. Uhura was not in that episode. Sorry, Nichelle was off that week. So we can only figure, in between the time, when in Turnabout Intruder, we see Janice Lester as Kirk freaking out and storms off the bridge, that there was a shift change as far as the communications station go. She played, this gal played, Angela in the couple episodes, but then referred to her Lisa. I don't know. Is it a different character, or did Janice screw up? It's Fiedler's choice. She's gone. Uhura's back on station, and I guess a quick little briefing the other guys. Hey, you hear what's going on with the captain? It's like, we think it's gone. Yeah, we were in the hearing. No, this is nuts. That's not the captain we know. So she looks appropriately alarmed when he comes onto the bridge. And then imagine a little chit-chat later. Yeah, well, you guys worried about, he's fine. But Montgomery talking about, Anthony talking about, you guys saw Enterprise. Our series became like the original series. It was about the captain, the engineer, and the Vulcan. So I was excited when we did Horizon, got to learn about Travis. Wanted to see more. Now, in a way, actually, with it not being really an ensemble show, you got your 2 or 3 main leads, and then you got a recurring ensemble, a bunch of recurring parts. Maybe they're there, maybe they're not. I mean, they were signed all for regulars, so they had to be there all the time. But a lot of times they were there just doing nothing, I mean, poor Anthony Montgomery's reduced to, aye, Captain, warp factor 2. Malcolm's back in the corner. Shields down 40%. Not shields, whole polarization. But I think it's, in a way, it's like it was. But even then, maybe Next Generation tend to shunt aside the other characters once in a while because they weren't as interesting. You started settling down on Picard, Data, and I'm not sure who the third one in that triumvirate would have been. Maybe Riker. He got quite a bit. But you're gonna get more of this stuff than let's see what's happening with Lieutenant Fredericks down on Waste Management. You got your leads for a reason. People are interested in what they're doing. Now, on other matters here, the Superman trailer dropped, and I'm still not convinced. Okay. One, my thing is they screwed up. When they screw up the suit, that's like, this is a warning sign right now. They've messed up the easiest thing in the world. All they had to do is just get the suit right. And they've got it in stock. They just put the same suit that you put Henry Cavill in for the test. There you go. Done. And it's like, no. And, and frankly, with I'm looking at some still frames. And the opening shot of the trailer is Superman falling to the ground in the bloody, literally bleeding in a heap. I'm not like, all right, how tough is this guy? And then we see him whistling for, and I saw when what's he calling to Crypto? And sure enough, here comes Crypto with the cape. And that really didn't help. Okay, in fact, I think it probably hurt a bit. And no, I don't think so. Okay, you still haven't convinced me. In fact, I think you probably lost a few points there. So no, I'm not. You know, if you can't get the suit right, then what else did you screw up? You can't get something as simple as the suit, which I already know you already have in the warehouse. It's in the wardrobe department. Pull it out, put them on, done. Move on. Maybe tweak the S shield a little bit, but but even then, that King, I've never liked that Kingdom Come. Never particularly liked the Kingdom Come, S shield in the first place. But also because it kind of depends on you knowing what the regular one looks like for it to work. If this is your first exposure to Superman, you're not seeing an S. You're seeing a pentagonal shield with a red, boulder bar across it. It only works because you can go back to the original one and see it's a derivation of that. But that's your first one. No, you already blown the deal right there. And also another shot to show it doesn't fit right. It's baggy in spots. It's like, really? No. Doesn't work. Okay. So no, I am not excited about this. And it's like, I don't think so. You have to work a little harder there, Sparky. So let's see what else we got to deal with here. Look at the. Okay, let me take care of something here. Confirm that one. Doing our usual. Oh, here we go again. That didn't take long. Up here we go, and okay. You got something to offer here? Or?
Well,
your mic is not working.
What the hell? Hang on, let me.
There you go. Now you're up. Now you're up.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, I've been listening to some of what you were talking about in the back. I heard you mention the last episode of Lower Decks.
Yeah. Again, don't have any spoilers here. It just drops. I encourage people to watch it.
It was good.
I encourage Rob Burnett, watch it. Yeah. Embrace it. This is good Star Trek, okay? So they get a little goofy. Guess what? It doesn't all have to be, oh my God, we're the best and the brightest, and we have to solve this great thing. No.
Kind of like procedurals that get goofy every once in a while.
Well, you gotta lighten it. Even Roddenberry said it can't always be a preachy sermon. You gotta have cut loose and have a little fun once in a while.
Yeah. And you want to talk about letting loose? I just watched an episode of Castle.
Yeah.
Involving a supposed alien abduction.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you how that one turned out, but let's just say Lyle Lovett was in there as a government agent.
And Lyle Lovett looks like an alien. Okay. Which is probably why I got the gig.
And they also had, oh crap, what's his face? Aliens.
Okay.
The android.
Oh, Lance Henriksen.
Yeah, him. This time he was some kooky author who wrote a book on alien abductions.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah, this one got kind of weird, but it was fun.
Whoa. Well, that took long enough.
What?
Refund on something that was way back when. I got $12 or $11 coming back.
What, on PayPal?
Yeah. Well, from eBay. No.
Oh.
So I'm not sure what happened there. Okay. Something never showed up, or took a while to work through the system, I guess.
Mm.
And let me do the rest of the email here. I should get some from Twink one of these days. They got good fun stuff. And nothing in the spam folder I need to worry about. Okay. A little back and forth. Prisha just had her IUD taken out. It's like, wait a minute, you just had a baby with an IUD? And it's like, no, somewhere with it.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like, what? How did that? But I don't know. She either had it or put it back in or whatever. But it's like, I remember there's an old joke about some gal having a baby with the baby comes out holding the IUD like a rattle. It's like, yeah. Yeah, it is a two-parter, so you definitely need to watch the last two together. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're rattling again.
Well, I don't know, because nothing's in here making any kind of rattle. It's just some kind of interference. Could also be just part of the internet type thing. Again, the signal's a bit iffy. It seemed to be doing because when I downloaded Lower Decks, it's just like that. Okay, I think we're back. But then others, nope, it's starting to bog down again.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know why it's being so weird lately.
I don't know. Well, apparently they are working on it. Mackie said she saw a truck somewhere working on the thing. Let me see, because the background is not showing up on my end. Let's see what's going on at least.
I'm not seeing anything on this end now. If you're talking about your background.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there when I first came in, but now all of a sudden it's like gone.
Well, I may have just hit the wrong button here. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Get this ads out of the way.
Yeah, it seems like.
I mean, I appreciate the ads because they eventually you're supposed to be getting me paid for all this, but it's annoying when I'm watching them. So.
Seems like
Yep, there it is.
Procedurals and sci-fi shows aren't the only ones that tend to get campy every once in a while.
You gotta do stuff once in a while. You gotta cut loose, okay? There we go. Now it's showing up.
Yeah, but
and that's why
a show like Dynasty having a musical episode.
That one especially, those kind of shows especially, you gotta do something to cut loose, okay? But that's why you get these imaginary, the mirror universe stuff, the alternate timeline. So, give everyone a chance to break loose from their, their character thing, just to get weird, The problem you have in that situation, though, is the audience going to go along with your weirdness for the day? Because, I think Strange New Worlds found out, no, we're not going to put up with any more musical episodes. Okay? There are ways to integrate music into the show without destroying the thing.
Mm.
Original series did manage to do that more or less properly. How successful it was overall, but you had, because that was one of the things with the early the character description with the Uhura.
Mm.
Is the the playing on the fact of Nichelle Nichols being a singer. And a pretty good mimic, because her one woman show, she goes through the whole list of things, Eartha Kitt and Pearl Bailey and other ones.
Oh man, I gotta say it's a good thing for you that you didn't have to watch Lower Decks on here with me. Because guess what they advertised at the beginning?
What?
Section 31.
Idiocy. It's like, we should thank the prophets that we only have one Section 31 movie to deal with and ignore, rather than an entire series like Kurtzman wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I should take that as a sign that no, Paramount was sick of his shit as it was. It's like, that movie is there for one reason: contractual obligations. That, yeah, okay, we kind of have to greenlight this thing, but we don't have to agree to an entire series. You get your one movie.
Mm-hmm.
And if it bombs, as we all know it will, then you don't get any more. You just start knocking things out bit by bit. Okay, that's why Discovery got the plug pulled at the conclusion of season 5. They thought they were doing great. They thought they were going to get 7 seasons like everybody else, and no.
Mm-hmm.
When they got the decision they've been canceled, everyone on Discovery went into shock. What? But we're doing it. No, you weren't. We're bleeding money because of this show. We're having to sell the studio because of this show. Congratulations. That's the thing. Good thing. The old stories about how, Star Trek broke Desilu. No, actually, in 68, when Lucy did sell out to Gulf Western, that was the most profitable year Desilu had ever had. They were doing great. Lucy just got tired of running a studio. She'd had it with the business part of it, and she wanted to get out from under it. Okay, but they were making more money that year than they had previously at all. They really didn't have to sell.
I
don't know what Paramount was doing next door, but it was also back in the it was beginning of the trend of big conglomerations buying up movie studios because it was cool. And Gulf Western, they bought Paramount Pictures, and right across the fence, literally, on the other side of a big chain link fence, was Desilu Studios. Right there at the corner of Melrose and whatever it is, wherever I should pull up a picture, but it's like, it's the old RKO lot. We went by it one time. I made a point. I'm making my parents drive by. They're out visiting me when I had some leave time, or not. Was it leave, or was I already out? I think I was already out. Yeah, because I was working at the radio station. And we're just doing the touristy thing, running around LA. Went to Universal Studios, and I made a point. No, here, Melrose, go down. Drove by Paramount, and on the corner is still the remnants of the old RKO, because the RKO radio picture, the globe and the big tower and stuff. On the corner is that they got a big globe, and I guess on top of that was a big old tower and the RKO logo. But when they bought that, they kept part of that.
Mm-hmm.
It also kind of cool thing when they were starting the motion picture production. And they made a big deal. Oh, they're back on Stage 9. No, Stage 9 on Paramount. Not the same thing as Stage 9 on Desilu, because when Paramount brought over Desilu, that was no longer Stage 9. It was like Stage 23 or 22. It's up. Stage 9 on Paramount's a much bigger, much bigger sound stage and different facilities, but it's like way the other side of the lot. And that's where Star Trek lived for the next, God, starting the movie was in 70, but it was like 77 when they started working on that movie. Or probably 76, I think, when they started pre-production and building things up, because they were working on it when Star Wars hit, and they thought they lost a shot. But those same sets were recycled all the way up through Voyager, the corridors at least. In fact, they dragged the warp core out from, because they used it in the motion picture and they used it for Voyager. And they didn't pull those down until they started working on Enterprise and they built all new sets. And those are, basically the longest standing sets in Hollywood. There was, because the quarters were up for really about 20, over 20 years. Because Enterprise started at like 2000, 2001. And that's when they finally redid them all and just pulled everything down. So the parts of that concrete floor hadn't seen a lot of days since the mid 70s. So. Of course, also it's like everyone going, creaky wooden sets. You know what the sets were built with in Strange New Worlds? Wood. They're made just as much plywood in the new ones as they did back in the old days. Okay. And I know, back when they had some big, Q&A thing, lecture, with the set designers, and they had, and the day was Star Trek, and Matt Jeffries was gone, but I think one of the guys who worked with him, there was a guy who did go. I'm blanking on the name, but he dated back to the original series, and the guys like Herman Zimmerman and Probert and then Rick Strom and others were there, and they had the guy from JJ Trek who had made some disparaging comments about the original series set. Oh, like a couple of cardboard boxes pushed together. Ha ha ha! We're so clever. He didn't say a damn thing on this one. Everyone is doing the talking about the stuff they went through, and he's like, never mind. Because it's all the stuff they did to put these sets together, and all the probably some of the rationale about when they did the original bridge and pictures and slides. That actually didn't look half bad. That's something Drexler likes to bring up all the time. The other people come out, I believe the sets. Look at In a Mirror Darkly. You light them right and put modern monitors instead of the slides. Those sets look fantastic to this day. Okay. Not a damn thing wrong with those sides. In fact, if anything, they look more futuristic because you can't tell what those controls do. But the most you can figure out what works is the intercom. Okay? You hit the button next, that's the intercom. And you tell where you want to talk to and then route it to wherever they are. And maybe the astrogator thing, okay, you figure that's probably just setting that, you put in the heading in it. But as far as working the controls, I have no idea. I don't know if this button fires the phasers, open the shuttlecraft, or blows up the ship. I don't know. Someone bring me a manual because I have no freaking clue what this button does, or any of these other buttons. Like supposedly George Takei got an argument with the director about, because he's setting the shot and wants to push it. Well, but I pushed that button there, the ship will blow up. I have to push these buttons over here. He had it all worked out in his mind how it works. So he'd go around with the director on that sort of thing once in a while. Meanwhile, Walter Koenig is pushing buttons depending on what mood he's in. If he's feeling kind of glum, he's hitting the purple ones. If he's feeling kind of happy, he's doing the yellow.
Oh God. I'm still remembering that scene with Koenig in Star Trek 4.
Which one?
when he was in the hospital.
Oh, rank admiral.
He's got this like shit-eating grin on his
Yeah,
face.
yeah, he's delirious. Yeah, he's still waking up.
Yeah.
And he's having to fly back to Earth in a hospital gown. Think about that. Fly back at the time. He's at the helm of the ship in a hospital gown.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, granted, I think the actual thing, no, he undoubtedly had underwear and pants on there. But, realistically, within the context of the scene, yes, Chekhov is basically flying out with his ass hanging out, okay? That's how much of an thing. That's, yeah. Let's do a short story based on that, So the one thing that did not occur to me is by flying basically naked. Draped only in this paper paper gown in front of me. Thankfully, we're too busy. No one noticed. No mold on my ass. No. Of course, it did not help when I had to jump into the water. Also, thankfully, not as cold as water in Russia. So that's quite calming.
It's too bad we couldn't get Tom Muster on here to ask him about Star Trek or that.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe one day, but
I mean,
I'm sure what is he doing? Is he still on Channel 7?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh.
But as far as I know, I'm still friends with him on Facebook. So.
Yeah. Of course, that doesn't mean much these days.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so I still need to do a. Well, when I get the editing thing done, I'm going to do a proper wrap up of the last season of Lower Decks. Just do a review, proper review of the intro and all that. I'll probably rewatch them all just for the fun of it. But also, I need to go through. I know I got a couple things in the hopper that I never got around to because the editing situation took a nosedive. And also, I need to, on my little history of Star Trek, I need to move into the Next Generation. The stuff that led up to that, And probably, to treat that as its own entity, and it's kind of, mention, okay, yeah, during the season, DS9 started, yada, yada. But mainly go through the stuff that led through this thing, and the whole thing about, casting of Patrick Stewart as Picard, that's really. Maybe a little bit about the thing about the hairpiece, That's the thing. Roddenberry did not want a bald Englishman. He wanted a hairy Frenchman. But Bob Justman saw Patrick in a lecture or something, and just like, no, that voice, you got to get
So instead, he got a bald Frenchman with an English
bald Englishman, yeah. Well, I like the way he rationalized because again, they did, Patrick had because the hairpiece normally used was back in England, so they had them express it out. It looked like like a ratted gun at it, but so he gussied up as best he could, came in with it. It's like, okay, lose the hairpiece.
I still remember those times when they were showing him as younger Picard, and that was the worst rub.
It looked like they probably dug out one of Bill Shatner's ones from back in the day. That's what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they patterned it after it. That same thing. But I do like, and this is where I think Roddenberry his gift was really as a producer. I mean, yeah, I want a writer's guild award. He wanted to be a writer, but his really was in solving problems on a production level and rationalizing way issues you just can't get out of. When they were, okay, we're going with the baldy, And the question, wouldn't they have cured baldness by the 24th century? And he came up with the action, by the 24th century, no one's going to care. And that was brilliant. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's what we want, because you could solve production problems, because back in the day, it's like you'd be arguing with the guys at the greenhouse trying to produce alien-looking plants, and then they kept looking out like it was still earthbound. You take the plant, rip it out of the pot, stick it upside down with the roots sticking on there. There, that's an alien plant. Okay. Or when Gene Kuhn and Dorothy Fontana are writing By Any Other Name, and they're stuck on the problem of how to deal with the crew. Because you got like a half dozen of these aliens or something. How are they going to subjugate the crew of 430? So someone's going to rebel with it. And Ron had this paperweight, this dodecahedron paperweight that Dorothy had bought him on a trip to Mexico as a knickknack here. Got the thank you. And he was going to, and they're talking about, and he's kind of noodling around this thing on his desk. How about if they have something that shrinks them all down to this? And I was like, there, boom, there goes all your, no extras, no need for anything. You just mock up a few dozen of these things, scatter them around the corridors. There we go, done. That was where it was in solving those kind of things, Or really, I think the crowning glory was the menagerie, where you pretty much created, if not network TV's only two, at least network TV's first 2-part clip show. The thing about normally clip show, hey, remember when you use the old gag of Family Guy? This is worse than when I yelled fire at the Library of Congress. But usually it's like, yeah, remember when you stepped on that pig, and they show the scene where they stepped on the pig 6 episodes ago. But this one's like, because like I said in the history start, episode 1 there, Desilu been screaming at him, figure out something to do with this pilot film you made here. Because the thing why they couldn't do it, because you had a totally different crew. The only consistent thing in that pilot with the rest of the show was Spock and the Enterprise, and even that was just barely. Now they've been forced to use Where No Man Has Gone Before as part of the regular run, because again they had very few airable episodes at that point. I'm so convinced they did not intend to air that. Because of all the very radical changes on there, and the opening sequence was originally totally different. It was more of a Quinn Martin production type thing, with Star Trek Act 2, epilogue, different theme music and everything. You can still hear bits of it through the episode, but in the original thing, it was not, it was a much more type of thing. And different intro type of thing. It was all over the place, And they had put it to a quick little cobble together to make it kind of fit with the rest of them. And at one point, they forgot to do the opening narration. Now, then when they did the remaster thing, they stuck it back in. I think, no, leave it off. I would have left it off there. It makes it kind of special. But I don't know if they had done when they cut it together, had they done the narration yet? I think that's that whole thing. I imagine it was a pretty chaotic period during the production. One thing I do think I would like to is see if the cage could be cobbled into closer to, because as it stands right now, the cage is a little over an hour, which is too long, even by the standards of the day. It would have to be about 52 minutes to accommodate for a commercial break. So even the commercial break of one, because like they did that space seat recreation. You got pretty much it starts with following program is better than Living Color on NBC, and then the teaser, opening titles, Star Trek, brought to you tonight by Polaroid with the new night, land, whatever, brought to you by Pontiac, creators of the new, You can have a quick little, on the commercial, new for 1968, the Pontiac Firebird, and then on with your show. And then first commercial break, hit a commercial, and then so you got to figure in all that. So one of the things I would like to do is take that first pilot and see what could be cobbled into a thing. I don't know. I'm not sure if you could do a proper teaser out of that thing. I don't know. Be interesting. I think that was one of the issues they might have had. Is like it just really isn't airable as this, because it's. Because I think I would probably, this is how the process works. People, you're going to sit down and think these things out, and okay, I think. Maybe you take that opening sequence on the bridge, slightly more tense music, and then cut to music, and then cut as I think probably at the point of the collision course, maintain course and speed, and then cut, and then do the opening title, and then open, start a back one with, back on the bridge, and we're passing the old style radio signal, radio wave. It's a bit of a cheat, but you work with what you got. You can't go back and do reshoots because unfortunately everyone's dead. So, and there was also, as of this point, it was 60 years ago when they started production on that pilot. They started production in November of '64.
Oh.
And Laurel Goodman was the last one from that original cast. The Yeoman Colt.
There was a guy from Young and the Restless that once showed up on Star Trek. I don't know if it was. I think it was Next Gen, but
probably.
Yeah. He was the lead actor in Arc 2, and he was.
Oh well, let me look that up real quick here. What am I doing the phone?
Terry something or other.
Yeah, the first Jack.
Yeah, the first Jack Abbott.
Mm-hmm. Let's get out of that here. Go IMDb app. Not now. Let's go via Young and the Restless here.
You go that way, you are going to have a problem because there's like thousands of people on that cast.
Well, the thing is, Jack Abbott is one of the lead characters, therefore he'll be top of the thing. So.
You're roboting.
I can't control that, so no point telling me about it. Okay, let's see. Come on, damn it. Give me a look to the camera now. All right, we can only do so much with a phone app, so we're going to open a tab and do it that way. Provided the internet will cooperate. Oh, for God's sake, I did not want to.
What?
Stupid thing spazzing on me here. No, I'm not rating this right now. You're pissing me off right now. What? There. All right, come on. All right. So I can click on the character name and do it that way. All right. Tell you what. Pick another Arc 2. Terry Lester, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, so that way. Born in 1950, so he was on Voyager.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was one of the shows, but couldn't remember which.
Yeah. Let's see how far back it goes. Because they did 311 episodes of Young and the Restless. I think it ended about because of health issues.
Complications from AIDS was his.
Okay, that's pretty big complication. He actually did Arc 2. Let's see. That was in 76. Young and the Restless, so he wouldn't start till 81. His first bit was in Airport 75, uncredited.
Oh, I have to go back and watch that.
He was in an episode of Barbary Coast, so he worked with Bill Shatner. Technically, maybe. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Anybody ever see that, Joel? Did an episode 8 is Enough. Dallas, Once a Spy. Blade in Hong Kong, wherever that is. Hotel. Young and the Restless. Then he showed up in Santa Barbara as the World Turns for 24 episodes. And he did that Voyager. Did an episode of Jag. Diagnosis Murder. His last one was in 99, an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. And died a few years later in 2003. Now let's see. Terry Lester began his acting career while in the Army. Upon completing the service, decided to move to Hollywood to pursue acting. Had no problem finding work with his acting, singing, and piano playing. After a few bit parts, he found a starring role in Arc 2, and was soon courted by Young and the Restless to fill in for departing stars, but insisted he would only take a new role, which was finally offered to him as Jack Abbott, a role which garnered him a long string of Daytime Emmy nominations. Although a perennial nominee, he was outspoken against the Academy and, unsurprisingly, never won a Daytime Emmy. Left Y&R for Santa Barbara in '84 to replace fellow actor and friend Lane Davies as Mason Capwell. With that show in its twilight, Lester took some time off before moving to New York to take a role on As the World Turns, where he was close with the head writers. As that show's writing team changed, his role decreased, and Lester left in frustration in '94. Moving back to Hollywood, he made a few appearances on television, but spent most of his time either acting on stage or composing music for various media. 2003, died at age 53, following 2 heart attacks. So maybe AIDS, or maybe, remember, Hollywood is a very nasty town. They will start lies about you just to get back at you. Like there's supposedly the rumors about, Ann and Nancy Wilson being lesbian lovers. They're sisters, and it's like the very thought it turns Ann's stomach. It's like, who the fuck comes up with this crap? No, because they pissed off a rock journalist. Because he's trying to start all about you too. Like, no, we're sisters. Get the like this kind of thing. What the song Barracuda is about. Yeah. And there was also a reason why they advised Sarah Palin, don't use that in your theme. Not only because politically we don't agree with you, but also because you don't know what the song's about, do you? It's not something you want to be associated with, trust me.
Okay, we just crossed the hour mark.
All right. Yeah. But this whole thing about, the whole story about Rod Stewart, everyone, jizzing into it, and him drinking that. No, total bullshit. He doesn't swing that way. He never does. It's not his style. Those all started because some agent or whatever got pissed off at him, or some publicist. They started rumors. It's like, no, total crap.
Didn't Nimoy show up in T.J. Hooker?
Yeah, I did a guest spot. Yeah, they did a big thing where he was a cop, kind of trying to get revenge for something, for his daughter got killed, and TJ had to talk him down. But,
okay.
It was a big deal. He was a very prominent. He was just a cameo. Hi, Bill. No, it was. He was a very prominent guest star in that one, because it was a big deal. Nimoy and Shatner together again on camera. Most definitely was not playing Spock. This was a cop on the edge, ready to blow. What the hell? That's not what I wanted. Mother plus bucket, son of a bitch! Stop that! This thing spaz out on me.
Yes, peeps, he really is a curmudgeon.
All right. Here's his wiki. And they've got the, complications from AIDS, but not a very long page.
Yeah, didn't that?
Yeah, that's like Wiki is not exactly the most reliable narrator, anyway. So.
Yeah. Didn't that kid from Star Trek 2 die from AIDS?
Yeah. Yeah, it was at the height of the AIDS thing, anyway. So, but also Mike Miner, who was one of the art guys on the show, so. And Bill Tice, like he was getting sick at the time Next Gen started out, so he told you, I don't know how much I can give you. But Gene was, he's like, no, we'll support you much. Give me what you got. And he got a Peabody Award out of it for, I think it was The Big Goodbye.
Ah.
Which is typical Hollywood at the time. I was like, no, not for the crazy costumes. No, it was basically a period piece where they're all in 1940s, suits and dresses. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll give you an award for that, for stuff you probably bought off the rack. But, stuff that had been languishing in the Paramount wardrobe stores for 40 years. Yeah, we'll give you an award for that. But yeah, we're at about an hour, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up there at this point. So
later, babes.
When I get the stuff that comes in the email thing and I feel is commenting, I'll throw one of these up here. But till then, we will talk at you later.
All right.